Hello, good evening. I hope everyone can hear me okay. It's been a couple of weeks because of the holidays, so I hope everyone's doing all right. We've had a... Oops, I'm going to switch off the echo. So we've had a bit of a setback in Bitcoin since the middle of August, really. And the key question is this correction over with this drop here? Are we still in an uptrend or have we reversed? Because these daily moving averages have flipped over bearish. If we get up here and we find resistance from them, we could very easily see another leg lower. What I also notice a lot is when these moving averages are the wrong way round, like this, in other words, the shorter time one is underneath the longer time one, in other words, set for a bearish move, is that you very often see a deep retest of the lows or a deep retest. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened here. But now, when I look at these fibs, I have, you can draw your fibs all kind of different ways, especially when you're inside consolidation. We could put our fibs all the way here from this December 18 low to this high, and we could look at the fibs that we're inside of and what we're bouncing off, and we can say, this was an 886 that went to the 236. This would normally, I would expect, come back to the middle. If we put our fibs this way, which are the one I like and I thought wasn't working initially, then you can see that we actually reversed. It's a bit messy, but we actually reversed from this high to this low, here to here, at a 786 fib. And Fibonacci levels, retrace levels, a bit like a staircase. So, when you reverse at one, you're looking to see if you break the previous one. So these previous highs and this 61.8 level, and also this big round 10,000 number was what we needed to break if we're going to stay in an uptrend. And so far we haven't. So when we look at our fibs this way and we have them from this high to low, and if you read Connie Brown's book, she only does them from highs to lows, then we are still in an uptrend in Bitcoin and no damage done. Otherwise, I would normally say, well, when I look at this, well, we had a look under this 236 fib. Yeah, maybe we didn't close, the week underneath it, but, little bit of a warning of more downside. So for now, I'm going to say this bounce, and let's get rid of these fibs, this bounce off this 61.8 fib level and this 10,000 level is quite encouraging. We can also, unlike a lot of stock indexes, we can count 3 waves down. So potentially our correction is over here. I think it's this second swing. Potentially. Now, this swing here, though, was 1.618 of the first swing. And that's very often what you see in a third wave. So we can say if that is the case and this is a third wave, then 38.2 or 50% of this is normally the correction. So we're at the 38.2 now, and a little bit higher is the 50%, and that's at 10,945. And that if this is a wave one, we shouldn't break that. So our resistance is at 10,945. And if we're going to see another new leg lower, new lows, we shouldn't really go above 11,100. That's how I'm looking at Bitcoin. So I am long, but I'm a little bit cautious at this point because we've now rallied up to this daily 20 moving average. The first time back to it, we would normally see a bit of a setback, and how far we come will tell us what's going on, I think. I would say if we only come back 50% of today's open close back to these previous highs, a little inside bar, then there's a good chance that we keep going higher. If we've got a bit of a short squeeze because everybody was really bearish, then we probably won't come back that much. We'll just keep squeezing higher. If we take a look at where we are, I'm a big fan of channels. If we draw where we are as a sort of hourly channel, I'm going to... Yeah, it's not quite simple. Here we go. I'm going to go down to these lows and I'm going to ignore that spike, and I'm going to get as many touches as I can like this. I'm going to say that's probably the bottom rail. And if we take this high in the middle, remember this was still a downswing, this high. then, you know, we're kind of probably around the top rail of this rising channel as well. Maybe we've got a little bit more room higher like this. Either way, we're around the top rail of a rising channel. We've got the daily 20 moving average, so I would expect a little bit of a pullback here, and then we'll see what's what. If we draw our fibs on again, then that 236 fib should be support. We shouldn't go back below it. If we do, I'm going to become a little bit bearish. I'm going to say, you know, that's probably the party over. And that level is at 10,000. I can't read it. There we go, 10,315. So I've bit stamp prices, but they're all much of a muchness at the moment. So 10,315 is where I sell Bitcoin and say, yeah, we're probably going to see another leg lower and another leg lower from here. It's probably back to this 200 moving average and potentially back to these previous swing lows here around 9,000. So 9,100. Now, and potentially much more, you know, we need to be a little bit careful. This would probably mean, I think if we drop below, make new lows, then it probably means that this whole wave is over and we could easily see a 50 or 61.8 pullback, if not more. So that's where I am. Last minute, still holding on in Bitcoin and still potentially a bullish pattern. Let's take a quick look at ETH. See if we've got the same thing. Now in ETH, we've got the same thing. I think this looks like a bear flag. Got my Heikin-Ashi candles on. A rising channel anyway. And here we are banging our head on these daily moving averages. And we really need to get back above them if we're going to make some upside progress. And this is not just a bear flag. If we look at the 4 hour, you can see this was 5 waves down. And this is starting to look really choppy and overlapping. So I'm not super confident here, I have to say, in Ethereum. We really do need to get above these daily moving averages. Otherwise, I think that this could be the first leg of a drop blower. This is a B leg, and then we're going to see another drop down to the 200-day moving average. The reason I think we go to the 200-day moving average, I'm going to go to a weekly chart. If we take this last swing lower high to low, you can see that we reversed at the 50% level. When you reverse at a 50% level, mean reverting markets tend to keep mean reverting. So you generally, not always, but generally, hello Jimmy Chu, can you take a look? ONT, yeah, I like on ONT. It's my favorite coin tonight, actually. So we will definitely be looking at ONT. In fact, I think I mistakenly, in my title, wrote OGN, and I meant to put ONT, not OGN. So that's my bad, actually. Thank you for pointing that out, Jimmy Chu. Yeah, definitely, I like ONT. All right, then. So that's where we are in ETH. You know, very nasty if we look on this weekly candle. If we can't get more than sort of halfway back of this weekly candle, we're also in a little bit of trouble. And I think potentially got another swing lower to come in this one. And that kind of doesn't bode very well for Bitcoin, does it? It suggests that maybe we've got more downside. I think my biggest worry for Bitcoin is, you know, when I look at the stock indexes, you know, they've had this sharp drop, a lot of them. Not a long way, but about, you know, but corrections, but it was all in one swing. And corrections are normally 3 waves like this. And so, you know, we haven't seen enough to say that the correction's over, and I've drawn that really badly. Normally it's like this. Corrections in 3 waves. Sometimes they look funky like that, and then you carry on. Sometimes they go inside of themselves and you make a triangle, and they're 5 waves. But they're always at least 3 waves, and this is the problem. So we could see stock indexes drag Bitcoin back to the lows, and we could see the same here in ETH, US dollar. So 394, I'm going to say, is where I'm looking. But if we don't and we just make a bear flag, and let's go back, and our bear flag breaks down. Then the target level on our bear flag is this 50% level at 288, and that also lines up with these previous highs. There's really nice support and resistance if we come back there in Earth. So this is one of those weeks, isn't it, when it's not very clear. I have to say I'm not feeling terribly bullish, or that the correction is over, because so many alts don't look ready or set up this week. So many alts look like they have a little bit more correction needed, or not quite ready to go. Okay, so above 394 will look a lot better. Otherwise, I think there's a good chance that we drop to 288 in F. Okay, apologies to the people who missed the start. Somebody said that, I don't know, that I just started it as normal, so good stuff. Thanks, Jimmy Chu. I can't believe I wrote OGN instead of ONT. My favourite coin tonight is ONT by far. We'll take a look at it. So let's take a look at Link, and talking about coins that I think are still in a correction. Now, Link is a good example of that. I'm going to start with Link Tether, and we'll look at this 4-hour chart. Now, in this bounce, Link, this is a very nice ABC correction. So we've had one, after a big 5-wave rally, it looks like we've got 2 equal swings lower here. So it looks like we made a very nice ABC correction. The key question is, are we ready to go up again or not? Sometimes it's a matter of timing. You can make your lovely correction, but your moving averages, especially your 200 moving average, has to catch up. In terms of fibs, this is pretty bullish. We've reversed it as 786 fib. We've got above the 61.8. This 50 is now resistance. This 61.8 is now support. And it's like a staircase. We're looking to make the next leg up. We should go from here to at least the 38.2. The problem is we've got these bearish moving averages, and they're holding us down. And very often when you come back to the moving averages like this and they're not set up, you end up seeing a deep retest to the lows. Now, we know this is a good level. We know this is a lovely equal measured move, but you might end up seeing a deep retest here if we see a swing lower in this one. And at this point, unless we can get above these moving averages, unless we can get above 1331, I think we're a little bit held up and at risk of a bigger bottoming pattern or a retest of the lows. It's just not, it's just not setting up right, is it? It's just sideways. So that's going to be our trigger above 1331. Otherwise, we'll look for a retest. Now, if we look at Link Bitcoin, let's see if that's given us any more of a bullish or interpretation, because we still got, Link Bitcoin, this chart looks exactly the same, doesn't it? Except the fib levels are slightly different. We're in that golden ratio zone. So from the lows here in July, in this last 5-wave swing higher, we're stuck in between the 61.8, 38.2, and this 50% in the middle level tends to act as a bit of a pivot. It's either support or resistance. It looks to me, this is only a 4-hour, but like we're stuck underneath it, and we could therefore be on our way for a dip to the bottom. So same thing, moving averages aren't set up for us to rally yet. Watch out that we don't do a retest of this 61.8 level. And what we could also do here is if we drop down to this 786 fib level, where we could, meet up with this 200 moving average, then that would give us a bullish Gartley pattern, and that would be very interesting. Sometimes, we talked about how corrections can look like this. And remember, this swing in the middle is also an ABC, okay? Or they can look like this, or they can be irregular, or sometimes if you're in a really strong uptrend, you'll have a pullback like this and marginally high, and then it won't make a new low. And in fact, it'll look like you're still in an uptrend, but you've done this correction. Well, when you look at Link here, what this could also be is this is our A leg, and this is the same thing. We've gone B, and now we're going to do our C leg. So it's never quite over till you kind of break out of the channel or the consolidation pattern that you're in a correction. And so, you know, we could, I'm going to connect the lows. Let's draw it like that. So here's our equal channel, because they're equal. And so again, above 12,780 and that 38.2, yes, we'd be going up. But at the moment, we're on the back foot and headed to retest the lows in link. So a little bit of a patience. A double bottom, an inverted head and shoulders, some kind of nice bottoming pattern is what we really want to see in link before it's ready to go again. So, I mean, so far so good. This looks lovely, but, you know, Hammy, I can do OGN as well. I will do OGN and I will do ONT. I'm sad I didn't write it on when it's my favorite one. Okay. We're going to look at band. Let's find band. I can't remember why somebody asked me for band. Do you know what? I think I'm looking at the wrong. I'm looking at the wrong list of coins, guys. I don't know what's happened here. I wrote them all up, and this is not the list that I had. So I'm just going to edit it, okay? Because I don't want to talk about a bunch of coins that are irrelevant for this week, okay? And I'm just going to scrub the list. I honestly don't have, this is not the list I wrote. I'm going to scrub it. And no, I realize now this isn't even the list that I wrote. And we're going to go by year, okay? I have got a list on my desk. I just haven't got quite time to type it up, but I'll give you a bit of warning. And the Daleks will help, okay? I have no idea. That wasn't my list. I don't know how that happened. But let's go. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is okay. I'm going to look at NEO. From here, we looked at Bitcoin, ETH, and Link. I'm going to look at NEO, TRX, and DOT next. Okay, so here's NEO. This NEO is really outperforming Bitcoin very nicely. My chart's a bit messy. I'm going to go to a weekly chart. And you can see these fibs from these lows. We had a little pause at this 50% level, but we're on our way. Weekly moving averages are turning up. And for me, this NEO is starting to accelerate. I feel like we're in a fifth wave of this third wave. So if that's the case, we'll measure like this and we can see where, let's take these fibs away now. We can see where this is likely to end up, because normally they have like 1.618 or 2.618. And I think that these previous highs here, around 27.43 are where we're likely to head to before we see a bigger correction. So NEO, Bitcoin for me has lots of lovely more upside to come. And we are just consolidating very nicely in an uptrend. So watch for a break of this high. I may have measured this wrong, and it may be that this is ABC, but in which case we've got further to go. And 2267 and then 3000 would be where we are looking. But instead, I do like to look also at the kind of big first 236 fib retrace, but in this case, like it's so far away, it's kind of, yeah, almost not relevant. It's 4,223. We're still at 2,000. Do I think we're going to double and get up there? Yeah, I do, but we're not going to go in a straight line. So I think that these previous lows, see how the previous support and resistance has worked very well in NEO. I think 2,200, 2,300 should be our next resistance level. And then these previous highs at 2,750. And then if we get above there, then we can look to 4,000. But yes, consolidation in a very nice uptrend in NEO Bitcoin. Which is what you want. You really want NEO. If Bitcoin's going up, it's pretty good if NEO is outperforming. If we look at NEO against Tether, I'm going to start again on this weekly chart. Let's clean it up. Sometimes, you'll draw your fibs on a chart and they just won't work. And I found that with NEO. And again, because this is such an awful, drop, this 236 fib is so far away. If we move it up there, we're looking at 49 and here we are at 21. Now, I do think eventually we'll end up at 49, but not in a straight line. What I really like about NEO Tether is this looks like a really nice bullish flag that we're breaking out of and to new highs. If we can see this, this previous high, we're breaking to new highs. So that's the reversal, weekly trend reversal. So yeah, looking really good. We do need to break out of this consolidation higher. We're wrong if we drop back underneath the 20 moving average from here, or we make a lower high and roll over. It could be that this is, then we'll just look for another leg of, just like Bitcoin, another leg of correction before we carry on higher in this uptrend. It's not clear yet until we make a new high in NEO that we are done with the correction. But it's looking really good. What can we say? Yeah, it is looking really good. But you're not quite out of danger, are you? Until you make a new high. At this point, could you buy NEO here? No, I probably wouldn't. I would wait to see that new high and then I would be looking for pullbacks. At this point, I think it's too risky and you're too close to resistance. So I apologize. I'm not keeping up now with the comments very well because I don't know how this got changed tonight. Anyway, these things happen, right? So the next one we look at is TRX. Tron. One that everybody loves to hate. And here we go. Let's see what's going on in TRX because here's a daily chart of this one. I was quite hopeful. In fact, we need to see this on the weekly. I was quite hopeful that we might break out of this declining wedge. And, third touches of trend lines, however you draw them, or horizontal support and resistance, sloping trend lines, third touches are very often false breakouts. In fact, you should expect that because the first two are the ones that allow you to draw the trend line, and then the third touch very often is a false break. So that's what we've got here. And when you get a false break, you expect it to come back and find support and kind of hopefully not reverse. In this instance, we've had one swing lower to these lows. If we break these lows, A, this will be B. If we break these lows, then we'll be looking for another swing lower. And really until this bottoms and starts to turn up again. And this is where I really do like high Kanashi candles because it's such a good indicator of when stuff is starting to turn up again. But yeah, I'm afraid this one still needs another swing of correction. And if we measure this one as well, from this high to this low and project it from here, then 238 and this daily 50 moving average is where this swing would be 61.8 of this first one. If we don't make a new low though, sometimes it's just that this is sort of B legs are the hardest. So it might be we do a bit of this, go a little bit higher, and then we make the next leg lower. So it's not clear that this correction is over. But losing the 20 moving average today, if we then lose these lows as well, then 238 is where the next stop down is in TRX Bitcoin. So a bigger pullback coming. Let's take a look at TRX US dollar. We'll tether, see what levels we'd be looking for in that one. Now here's our weekly. Look at this horrible false breakout in this one. You can line it up like this. Anyway, it's actually not so bad, but here we go. We've got 5 waves up, I think, in a big count. In fact, this is actually kind of more bullish because it looks like an ABC, and now we've got, I think, 5 big waves up. So we need a 3-wave correction before we are ready to go up again in TRX. If this was our first swing, once this wave B is over, we can measure where this one might end up. But again, because unless we make a new low, or unless we kind of break down from this kind of flag look, which I'm not quite sure that we have, then we could very easily here, this could be A, and then we could do this for B, go all the way up here, and then our next leg won't be so full so far. So I would say leave this one alone. It just hasn't done enough of a correction yet in TRX, and it needs, it's not clear that this upswing is over yet, because it could be. If we make a new low, then we will be, but yeah, right, if that was, just going to do one thing. We're going to look at retrace levels from these lows. %. Now, when you bounce from a 50% like this, markets that tend to keep mean reverting. So now we would be looking for a bounce up to 50% for the next leg lower, and we haven't got there yet. So here's this 50% level here at 3857. So I would expect TRX to do this and to that 50% level, and then the next leg down. So yes, bounce coming. Be careful at 38.57. I think we could reverse there in TRX. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is DOT, then BNB. And again, I apologize. I honestly don't know what happened. Oh look, it has got them. I was looking at the wrong page. Yeah, that is the list now. Okay. Okay. So we haven't done XTZ or UBQ. So I'm going to go back. Let's go back and look at UBQ. Now, UBQ, nobody asked me for this one. I put this one on. I put this one on because I like it. Okay, I really like UBQ. Now, if I zoom out, I've got my fibs from the high that we made in March 2019 to the low that we made at the start of this year. Made a really nice base in this one, but I like how we validated these fibs with this 236 touch here. Now we've gotten above it to the 38.2 and we've come back to retest it. What I also like is, if I look underneath the hood here, is how we've kind of done it in an ABC pattern. So I'm looking in UBQ to see if we can bounce from here, find our feet, get some support. It's not quite doing it, is it? In fact, we're not. Let's see. You know, we've got a few hours till the close. If we could just dip down maybe and bounce back pretty sharply, a breakout from this channel anyway, on the upside, is a long entry in UBQ after our, and would signal that this correction is over. I did think that the support around 21.48 would hold. It doesn't look like it is, unfortunately, in these previous highs. So, one to watch anyway. I'm watching these levels for a reversal around here. So, UBQ. If we do make another leg higher when we break out from this channel, you know, when your first swing is to the only the 38.2 or the 50, we should be looking for at least 1.618 projections from here. So I don't know that we've made a bottom yet, but that's what I'd be looking for. But either way, 3767, 4491, and then back to these previous highs for UBQ. If we look left here, you can see where that support should come in. And let's see how we're doing with all the way from this spike low back in March 2017. So let's go back and see where we are with that now. That's the level I'm really kind of looking at to hold. So if we can snap back and hold this level, I'd really like to see this bounce up from here, UBQ. Okay, next one we're going to look at is TRX. Oh no, I've done that. I've done TRX, haven't I? So UBQ, I haven't done XTZ. Better do a bit of XTZ, 1 second. Okay. Sonum's on my radar. I had a very nasty false breakout today, but I keep watching it. Now, here's XTZ against Bitcoin. I think that this really, since February, has been in one big, horrible, nasty correction. I think that this first swing lower here was our big A leg, and then we've got a big kind of B, and that we're looking for one more swing lower. We've been teetering on this 50% level from all-time highs to lows. So this is our big 50% level through the middle here. Okay, it was resistance, and then it was support, 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 and here we are at it. Now before, you know, we kind of made a base here and we would launch off it. This time, it really does look to me like a bear flag. And if we do the measured move and get down to this 61.8, then I think that that's probably where we're going to go from here. So one more little push lower, and that's where we would end up. So that's what I'm looking for it to do. So if we draw it as a bear flag, we'll watch for it to break down. And we're looking for support somewhere between 2080 and 2200. Okay, if though I'm wrong and we're going to hold the support and rally from here, let's talk about what we would want to see. Now, in a downtrend, you make lower highs, lower lows. So we're going to be in an uptrend again if we take out this last swing high. This is the last swing high before we made a low. So back above there, which is 27.16, we can say, yeah, you know what? We've held this level and now we're back in an upswing again. That's what I would be looking for. Otherwise, I'm afraid it's just all looking a little bit. You know, you could have a little bit of an early warning here, but this, I'm afraid it just looks like it's got that bear flag shape. So a retest of the lows, and that's where I think we go. One more push lower for Tezos Bitcoin. If we look at it against the dollar, then we've got that same bear flag shape. Let's go to the daily. From this low to this high, this is the 61.8 fib. And you know, if you bounce from that, then the 50% becomes your resistance. So if we were looking at Tezos Tether, then if we can get above this 200-day moving average and get back above 2.72, then that would be our bullish trigger. We would go up to this 38.2 and the 50 moving average, and then see where we go from there. I don't think we'll do it. I think it's going to stay as a bear flag, and I'll tell you why. Because big picture, Tezos Tether to me looks like a big ABC. Equal measured move. It's overshot a little bit, and when you do that, you usually retrace. So you put your fibs on the whole pattern, so that would be down to here, and you usually retrace to the 786, which is down here, even further, 1.55. Now We haven't had this 200-day moving average very long. It was support before. It's resistance now. Like, if we get above it, then all of that bad stuff goes away. Okay, I'm going to go out of order because somebody says ONT's about to go. Oh, no. Okay, let's take a quick look at ONT. Now, I agree with you. So ONT, I think that we've had a nice, really nice rally in this one and a very clear, simple ABC correction in ONT. We can measure the swings and you can see what I mean. And whenever you see these equal measured moves, they're a glaring sign to me, you know, that they're usually a glaring sign to me that we've made a correction. 3 waves. And so if we break out the highs here, then we're on our way higher. We've already done 3 days ago that false break. Normally, remember, third touches are very often false breaks. So here we have 1, 2, false break. We pull back to our daily moving average, found support, and hopefully now we're about to break out again. Where is my target for this? Well, I think it's going to be this big 236 fib at 1185. But there is a little level in between at these previous highs that might give us a bit of trouble around 10,067. But otherwise, yeah, 1185. Now, if we go to a weekly chart of this, you can see that this is not the big 236 fib all the way from this high. This is just this last 5-wave swing lower. And, you know, these lows as well, before we can make a reversal. These lows from this first spike low are gonna could very easily knock us back before we actually get going with any momentum. So we need to be a little bit careful. But that's what I'm looking at. Yes, ONT, weekly moving averages all bunched up, ready to break out. Daily moving averages, lovely channel. It's really clear where we're long, and so that's what I'm looking for. Watch for trouble around 1,100, 1,185 first fib resistance. Okay, so that's ONT Bitcoin. I think it looks lovely. I can't remember if this one is traded against the Tether. It is, and US dollar. Yeah. Ontology gas. I don't want to look at that. Okay. I'm going to tidy up my chart here. Go to the weekly and get rid of these. Get rid of this. Now, for me, there are really clear levels through here. That this level here is going to be resistance from this low. Okay, it comes in at 1.033, and so that's slightly above these previous highs. Now we might overshoot it, but we really need a weekly close above it, or for us to get some momentum. And this is where we've had trouble before. So that's the first level that you're going to need to watch out for in this one. And then I think if we can make a base here, obviously we're looking for this next high and so on, and then we can talk about bigger fib swings. If this was our last kind of obvious swing lower, if I was going to put the fib levels on anything, I'd probably put them on this one. I'd see if we got a reaction at the 236 fib, which is like a bit of a touchstone. And I say we did. These highs and lows validate it. And so then look at this. This level that we're worried about through the middle here is our perfect 50% retrace, 1.0334. So watch out for trouble in ontology tether at 1.0334, and then but above it, happy days, back to the highs. Okay, I didn't do Haven. I'm trying to go in order. I got suckered into going to ontology. I'm going back now. I'm going to go back and do KNC, then BNB, and then Ren and Haven. Okay, so KNC is next. These are requests from my group. So one thing I will say, you know, when I look at Bitcoin and it does look really bullish tonight, I keep thinking, you know, all of these charts, a lot of them, like ontology is a standout. It looks really nice. But most of them look like they need more correction, and that may just be a bit of a warning for people like me who are a little bit bullish Bitcoin. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I feel like every time everyone gets bearish stocks, then they go. Anyway, here's a nice chart. This is KNC Bitcoin. And I just need to refresh my page. We're looking at this one for good reason. Liquidity, you know, John Green, I almost don't like mentioning Haven because the liquidity is so low. And it's really hard to get filled if you want to do any size. You kind of want to wait till the middle of the night when nobody's looking at it and, you know, hoover up some. But so here's Kyber Network. Now, let's have a little look at where we are, because I was kind of hoping. Now, I've been doing my fibs from this lower one. And the reason is, it's one of those, I thought that this was one of those A, B, C corrections. And then, you know, this was 5 waves lower from here. And the fib levels worked like this. And in this instance, that meant that we've got a 50% correction here if we take it that way. And so that's why I'm not doing it from up there. I'm doing it from here. So this was a very nice head and shoulders bottom. We hit our target. When you have a head and shoulders pattern, your target is from the head to the neckline, projected from the breakout point. So in that case, that was here, like this. And so you can see that we met our head and shoulders target. And so now we're likely coming back to retest the neckline, which was clearly very good support and resistance. I actually think the support and resistance is a little bit higher from this low, high, high here. And you can see that we tagged it 3 weeks ago. Not quite enough to bounce off it. We're coming back to retest it. We also need to, when you reverse it to 50%, you usually come back 50%. Mean reverting markets tend to keep mean reverting. And it looks like we've lost this 50%, which is a little bit. So we came back to the 50. Here's what we did. We came back to the 50% here, bounced 50%, and now we're in our next leg lower, which is not very happy. Right then. So where are we? Now, if you make a new low, if your first swing was to your 50% and you make a new low, you're usually looking for a 1.618 extension. So draw it like this. I'm just going to show you what I mean. Don't need those. We're looking for this 1.618 and 2.618. And so that would mean for Kyber Network, unfortunately, a little bit lower, 7882. I'm going to make this a different color. And then let's take that neckline away. Let's hide that for a second and let's see if we... Don't like measuring this one because it looks a bit funky, but yeah. So potentially this is a support zone here that we haven't broken yet, and the 200-day moving average. But if we do, and we break this support zone here, and we're retesting the lows of it, then the next one lower here in KNC Bitcoin is down here, between 7,045 and 7,800. Okay, so that's the two, those are the two zones of support. Let's see on a retest if we can hold this 200-day moving average. So if we don't, though, that's probably where we're going in KNC Bitcoin. Let's look at KNC US dollar. This shape, you know, you can see just with this shape, it's really struggling to rally sideways, double top now. Look, that first rally stopped here, second rally double topped. You can see it on a 4-hour. So that sets us up to retest the lows. And this whole shape is not inspiring quite yet. unfortunately. So again, watch for a retest of the lows in US dollar, 1.068, see if that holds. Okay? Hopefully you can rewind, Connor. Sorry, the list is a little bit out of order. I did link quite early on. Okay. Kyber Network, they're not terribly happy. We looked at ONT a couple ago. I know you wanted OMG, didn't you? We'll add that one on the end, don't worry. Now we're going to look at BNB, which when everything else was having a bit of a bad weekend, BNB really didn't seem to care, did it? Look at this coin. This is, you know, when you draw your triangles, this is such a good lesson that horizontal levels are really important, and they are in this one. Now I'm going to go to a weekly chart of BNB against Bitcoin first. Bounce from a 61.8 level, got through this resistance here at this 50% level, got to the 38.2. Sometimes when you go from a 61.8 to a 38.2, you go beyond it and you go to the 236 Fib. So that would give us a second target up here at 36,800. If we don't pull back too far, if we just do a shallow pullback and we keep trending higher, that's where we're going to be looking for next, 36,813. At the moment, we've just paused here, and I don't know if this is going to turn into a bigger reversal or not, or if we're just going to go sideways. So this is why I had these drawings on. This is what we were talking about in my group this morning. We're really going to see, are we going to flip these hourly moving averages and dump here, or are we going to hold in a sideways range, consolidate, and then just carry on higher? I'm a little bit, for me, I'm a little bit, you know, don't like that we're underneath this hourly 50. I think that this potentially sets us up for a bigger drop, and so I would say if you've got a load of profits in BNB, protect them, because you can always buy it back again when we retest this 50 to carry on higher from here. Okay, that's how I'm feeling about BNB. We're at a level where we could potentially see a little bit of a bigger pullback, and the trend could pause for some back and fill. If we keep going, happy days. If we hold today's lows and we carry on higher, you know where we're going. If you're looking at BNB US dollar, these exchanges, you know, they must be raking it in. Anyway. LaShawn, I agree with you, LaShawn. Welcome back to the stream, all the vets. What a time for crypto. Freddie V says your biggest bag is Rune, but you can't chart. Yeah, I can chart Rune on TradingView. I do chart Rune on TradingView. I got it here, I think. Rune. Yes, you can. Okay, you know, these, I'm going to talk about these DeFi coins and stuff later, because you know the ICO craze was a bit of a craze, and I think we're seeing another little bit of a craze. The difference between ICOs and this is like, this is like rocket science. It's so much more complicated. These smart contracts, that these STOs, they're not ICOs anymore, because ICOs were basically illegal. So now they're called an STO, which means it's backed by an asset. So when you get it, you own a share of it rather than just a coin or a token that doesn't really entitle you to anything. So they make them a little bit more legal. But what they've done is they've made it so bloody complicated. You know, basically this DeFi and this yield finance is you're lending money to you're lending your crypto to a startup, and a lot of them, they're like very complicated computer strategies, computerized market makers trying to earn you yield. I don't like them because you need unlike a lot of crypto, people can start with quite small stakes, but in this yield farming, you need quite big stakes, so you can lose a lot. And I think anything you don't understand how it works, or it's a black box, got to be careful. So don't get with all of them, like none of them are the answer to anything. They're all like ICOs, so white papers that really didn't mean anything, and trade them very carefully. Take your profit if you get some, say thank you very much. So, okay, well, I'm going to go back because I got completely off track. Yes, you can chart Rune. I've just done BNB. Now we're going to look at Ren and Haven. First off, here's Ren. Now, this is a very messy chart because what I tend to do is I tend to project using Fib projections when a market goes into a massive, big rally. I tend to use Fib projections for targets. So from this first swing lower here, you can see we hit the 1.618, we pulled back, we went through the 2.618, got all the way up to this orange 4.236. Okay, I also put Fib extensions from this little swing here, this little green swing here, and that's how I ended up with this target all the way up here. Okay, we reversed it quite sharply in Ren. Now my problem with this Ren is it's not clear to me when I look under the hood whether this, although it's a really nasty fall, it's not clear to me, and let's hide all these, that this is correction complete, that we've finished. Let's look at it on a 4-hour, because I like to see a really clear, you know, A leg, B leg, C leg, and I can't see it. It just looks like it's one drop, and not only that, but this looks very choppy and overlapping, and this is potentially a B leg. So I'm not saying it won't go higher. This might be the first swing of it. We might do a bit more like this, but we're still owed one more swing lower. Now sometimes they won't do anything like this. They'll go all the way up here, and then it'll come down like this, and we'll, you know, we might make a triangle, but make no bones about it, this one still needs one more swing down before I'm going to get excited about buying it again. And this bear flag may yet break down. So just be a little bit careful. So Ren, I think potentially, somebody asked me for this on Twitter. Yes, I think we could see a very nice bounce here. Potentially we've got more upside. If that was our first swing, then when we stay in this kind of channel, then I think 3,700, maybe 4,100. But then I would watch out that we don't drop from there. And if I put Fib retrace levels on, we're still in orange ADR. Let's look and see where that 50% is. There it is, around that 6, and that 61.8, 786 should be up there. Okay. Doesn't really line up. So 3,700, 3,600, bit of resistance for Ren Bitcoin. Okay. Okay. I am gonna carry on, and the next one we're going to look at is Haven. Okay, first off, this is a very thin and crispy coin. What does that mean? It means that's not a lot of liquidity, not a lot of volume. If you want to buy much, it's quite difficult. We have been known to get up in the middle of the night to buy Haven when we think nobody is watching. Now, this is a lovely move. I think this was our lovely big wave one, and we made quite a deep correction all the way back to the 200-day moving average, and much, to be honest, much more than I was comfortable with. When I look at these big Fib levels though, I'm a bit worried that we're going to have a bit of an argument here back around retesting, and this is from the all-time highs to lows. This 236 Fib level, you can see that if we look left, was previous pretty strong support. And so I was really anxious that we needed to get above this level. If you look though, I know I'm going to put these numbers on the right so we can see them. The reason I had it on this low time frame today was we've been doing this consolidation around this fib level, haven't we? And here's our ABC correction. Here's our A, B, C, and we're turning up again. So if we can make new highs from this, this is a long entry right here. If we can make new highs, we might not do it the first time, might not know. Third touch, remember, of a trend line. Very often there's a little false breakout. Then you'll see a pullback to test support, and then it should hopefully break out for real. But Haven, yes, I do like this. I think this is a nice bullish. It's not quite over the line, is it? But it's looking quite good to get there. And so we're going to look for a retest of 28,827. And I'm going to go to a weekly, and hopefully this will be our correction over. And then hopefully the 50% this time, 37,452. Big picture though. Remember, when your first rally is to the 50% or less, you're usually looking for the 1.618 or 2.618, which has moved now. So we're going to put our target down here. I think it's going to be between 44 and 46,000 for this next swing. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, remember, this is a little bit of a lottery ticket, because this is rallying on news that it's going to be listed on a bigger exchange with no fees. So I quite like lottery tickets, so we'll see. Quite like this chart as well. I love how we're back above this support and resistance level, and if you can look left here, you can see it is a big deal. It's just important that we're still here at the end of the week. Okay, so Haven, yes, looking for higher and looking for a break higher. Next one, and that's Haven Bitcoin. That's a weekly chart, so looking good. Next one we're going to look at is QNT. It's a Bittrex coin. I put this in because I really like this coin. Well, I like the chart. That's what I should have said. I really like the chart. I really like this bullish reaction, how we are holding these daily moving averages and how the momentum is turning higher again after making a base here. Remember, we've done that 61.8, 38.2 thing. We did it wider. Now we've done it narrower. You can see 61.8. So if we can get above this 50% in the middle, not quite over the line tonight, 83,275. If we can close above that and keep going, then we go back to the 61.8 level, and if we can close above 99,726, which is basically 100,000, then the target for this one is 145,000, which is where, if I measure from this low to this high, this 61.8 level is our first target on a retest, 99,726, and then 144,000. So yeah, love this reaction today. Looking to see if Quant Bitcoin can follow through. If we look at Quant, I don't think not sure it's traded much, but look at it. Yeah, lovely bullish reaction from Quant US Dollar as well, from that 61.8. Calculated by TradingView. I'm not sure it's traded against Tether. So QNT at Bittrex, I quite like that little one. Atom. And then I will do your requests, and I will do OGN first of the requests. Don't worry. Where's that little atom gone? It's normally around here. Okay, 1 second. Okay, get rid of that one. I'm going to look at Atom Bitcoin. Yay. Wonder if more history, that's what I wanted. Wanted my chart with all the bits on. That was no good. Okay. Now, I'm a little bit concerned in Atom here that we've made this whole big rally is an ABC correction. This because I feel like this whole, yeah, let me show you why. So if I measure from this low to this high, and you know there's some markets that just keep making big ABCs, that's all they do. They don't very rarely make 5 waves. But here in Atom Bitcoin, you can see that this swing and this swing are equal. When you have a big ABC like that, and you lose the 61.8 level, which is here, you normally retrace 786 of the whole pattern. So that would mean for Atom Bitcoin from this low to high down to here. Now, it's weird how this 61.8 level acts as a kind of support and resistance when you draw these ABCs. So I'm going to say that if we can get back above 5528, then that would be quite bullish, and I'm wrong. But at the moment, this looks like a bear flag. We're stuck between these daily moving averages. And I would say that we're just as likely to break lower as we are to break higher. And you can see how this daily 50, this blue moving average has been support, support, support. If we lose it, or if you don't use moving averages, if we lose this low, which is 49.60, 49.50, that's a bit of a bearish reversal, isn't it? We could draw it as a flag pattern as well. It's making me very nervous. Let's just put it that way. So if we lose these lows, I think that we have a lot further to fall. And so Atom, Bitcoin, I'm a little bit nervous. I would like it much better above 5,600. We could also call this a little bit of, now if this is false breakdown and we just retest the lows, that would be cool. But look at this. This is also starting to look like a bit of a head and shoulders pattern, isn't it? So we need to be a bit careful. There's our left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So below 47.31, we're going to look for 3,000. So be careful. Very important, 47.31 holds on a retest. And we don't get underneath. Okay, that's Atom. YFI I had on this page and I just got rid of it. Never mind, we'll do another one. Let's look at YFI Bitcoin first of all. Very nice uptrend, this one. Sometimes, you know, when I don't know where a market is going, I still, believe it or not, I use these little pullbacks and I project targets from them, and they work. They really do work. If we did this here, look, we had 2.618, went beyond 6.854, we kind of stopped it. So I use them like that. Here now we've got this nice biggest correction, and the most recent one is always important. And I don't think that we've hit our target yet. I think we've pulled back to test this high, we've found support, and I think we've got a little bit further to go. And any way I draw it, yeah, I think we're not quite there yet. So that would mean for this would be a nice wave 1. So we've had a nice big ABC correction, wave 1, 2, maybe big 3, I don't know. Maybe we've got wave 1 and this is wave 2 and we've got another big one to come. But I don't feel like, especially the way we're holding these previous highs, I feel like we have got more upside to come. Now, if this was an ABC correction complete, we should just see a nice 50% pullback and carry on. And if we look at it, that may be what we've got here, ABC, and then we're on our way up again. But if this is not, and this is a bigger ABC, then a retest of this previous high is what we're looking for. And that's where this next swing would be 61.8 of this first swing. So 3.387. That's where I'd like to see this find support if it comes lower. It might turn higher from here. So How would we know? Well, we've got a little channel going on, haven't we? Look, if we look at it on a 15-minute, got a little nice little channel. There's the lows like this, and then the highs like this. So if we break out of our little channel, let's adjust it a little bit. Let's like that. Make it a nice parallel channel. If we can break out of this, we're probably in our next upswing, and then this 1.618 level would be where I'd be looking, and so on. But we could also put our fibs on from here, this little correction here, and say, you know, here's, and so on. We just keep going. When you're in an uptrend, it's not over till it's over. This previous low is a really important support. But no, I think we've got more upside to come for YFI against Bitcoin. And if we look at YFI, US dollar, Tether or Perp, same thing. You know, we've got this nice little, hopefully this is a wave 1, 2, this is a bullish flag, wave 4 or something like that. And we're looking for a nice, you know, breakout. This is a 15-minute chart. I'm not drawing it very well, but anyway, you get the idea. So yeah, I feel like we've got, this chart suggests to me, especially the way we're holding above these previous highs, this chart suggests to me we've got more upside to come, and a nice wave 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, done. We're going to do a wave 5. Okay, that's YFI, more upside, and DOT. Now, this one's in a slightly different position. Okay, I haven't got my fibs lined up, but the slightly different position in this one is I kind of feel like I can see 5 waves here. It's all a bit funky. And so now we're looking for a bigger correction. And this drop was like much bigger than I expected for a first. But, you know, some of these coins are like taking the air out. We've bounced from a 61.8 fib though. This 50 was kind of, was a good support level, but didn't get respected that well. This 38.2, we got above it, found support from it. I think we should go a little bit higher from here. To 5.7 before we see a bigger pullback, and then, you know, we'll see a pullback to one of these previous, and then hopefully carry on higher. If we draw it as an hourly channel, here's the bottom of our channel, here's the top of our channel coming up, and we're going to probably see something like that, you know. But yeah, I'm a little bit concerned that this may not be correction over, but sometimes, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be much better if we make a new high. I think there's a risk of some sideways in this one for a little bit in DOT. Okay, now let's look at some more requests. Now OGN and then OMG, so were ones that I missed, so we'll do, not missed, but that were asked for earlier on. Let's find OGN. Origin protocol. Now, here's our daily chart. This is a little bit underneath this 200 moving average. It's a little, I know it's a newly printed 200 moving average, but it's making me feel a little bit nervous and bearish. I'm also feeling a little bit nervous and bearish because this is another one. This is another altcoin that looks like it's just made an ABC correction. Can you see that this swing against Tether? And if that's the case, again, that we're due a 786. ABCs very often retrace to the 786. I can see if I put my fibs all on from this all-time low to this all-time high, that's where we are. We've reached our 786. So are we going to make a base here and rally away? I think only above the 200-day moving average would get me excited, and I'd like to see a retest of this lows and a bigger base. It's like not doing anything, is it? Now, at this point, if you've ridden this all the way down, or if you're long down here, this is a great level. This is the level we were expecting it to rally from. So at this point, you know, there's no point in, if you've got a bag of it, no point in dumping it down here. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see this low retested. One good news thing is that 786 fibs are pretty sharp. Okay, so whereas in a 61.8 you'll wash back and forward through a level, then at this 786 fib we're unlikely to do that. It should be pretty sharp support. So that's what I'm looking for. We're at the right place to rally from, just no sign of it yet. I'd put an alarm. If you haven't got any, put an alarm on. Watch for a breakout. That would be very nice too. Freddie says, for the first time in 3 years, you're comfortable with DeFi. You can actually use these coins. Okay. I still, you know, whenever anyone, here's the thing, you know, there's still lots of things that can wreck your investment, you know. They can sell them all at once, you know, and crash the price. And anyway, just, that's fine. As long as you're comfortable and you understand and you can see what's going, you feel like you know what's going on, go for it. Okay. Never ever though, put all of everything that you have into one investment. You know, thinking that you're going to, you know, I hear this all the time, life-altering amount of money. It almost always, when you hear that, doesn't happen. Just don't put everything in one. Okay, you always want to be able to have some cash or somewhere else that you can invest to make your money back if it all goes wrong. Okay, if you lose everything, you've lost everything. Okay, I'm not going to lecture people, because I know you guys know. I'm going to look at OMG Bitcoin. Hello, Connor. Now, OMG. This is another one. Lovely, lovely rally. Nice pullback. Now, when I look at this swing, I feel like this is the swing that we should be charting the pullback of. But when I look at the fib levels, they don't really work, and it's a little bit frustrating. Maybe they do as resistance because we keep getting underneath them. Because I normally like to put my fib on the last swing high. So that's not really working. Let's go all the way from the lowest low then, which is down here, I think. See if these fib levels work a little bit better. And potentially they do. Potentially this is a 61.8 and we're having a little bit of a fight to try and find support of it. And if we can rally away from here back to 45.17, which is the 50%, would be our first resistance, and then above there we've made a bottom. So that's what I'd be looking for in OMG Bitcoin. So really good level. We've been here a few days now though, haven't we? And just are going sideways. So we need a little bit of a breakout. Look at how these 4-hour moving averages are all bunched up, all at the same price, all completely flat. That says one thing: no trend. There is no trend. And we need a breakout. I don't know which way it would be. I would say most likely to the upside, but let's see. Don't be surprised if these fibs work a little bit better. And if we do that, then we can say, well, you know, our breakout level is going to be 4,002. And if we get back above 4,002, we're going to look for 48.29, not those lows. And if we break down with our flag, 28.24 is where we're headed to. I do like these last swing better, but I'm open to it working either way. Need to break out of this wedge. That's the most important thing. Everything else will then follow in OMG Bitcoin. No trend until we do. Okay, so let's take a look at your rune, Freddie. Here we go. So really nice 5-wave rally. So impulsive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave rally in Rune Bitcoin. And normally you would expect it to come back to sort of around these wave 4s. Okay, and you would normally, but because it's wave 1 and now we're in our wave 2, you know, they can come back quite a long way. 50 to 61.8, sometimes lower. So here we are at a 61.8 level, haven't made a new low yet. And these can be very messy. So if we go from these lows to the highs, you know, in Rune, we're consolidating between our, let's take them off. We're consolidating between this 61.8, 38.2 level. So if we continue, you know, if we are going to turn around and rally from here, back above this 50% in the middle, that'll say we're going back to the top of the range again, and then that would be a breakout. But really this, you can consider this kind of a box that we're stuck in until we get out of it. That's going to be our trading range. And we'll widen it a little bit for those highs and lows. There we go. And this big red candle. So sideways consolidation before we make a base, and then hopefully up we go again. Because I think if we look under the hood, we've got kind of a nice correction here. A, B, C. If I measure it, it's a little bit harder to see, but you go from here to that low, from here, you can see that's an equal measured move at 56.38. In fact, so we should make that the bottom of our range, really. 56.38. So I'm looking for a retest of the lows and then a rally in Rune. Let's see if we can do it. Okay, Rune Bitcoin that was. Can I look at ICX? And CRV. Thanks, Giselle Richmond. Okay. Sorry, an H bar. Okay, losing my mind. ICX. Okay, I'm going to start with, I know you want ICX Tether. I'm just going to look at ICX Bitcoin here. Because isn't this one wallying about? Good grief. These weekly moving averages, though, in ICX Bitcoin are really nicely bullish now. Bullish cross. We've pulled back, found support from the weekly 20. We reversed at a 61.8 fib level and come back to the 38.2. We could go a little bit lower and still be okay. We could come all the way down here and still be, you know, in just a consolidation pattern. This looking quite good. The only thing that might concern me is, would this be... Yeah, potentially. This is a little ABC. And so to be sure that we're going up again, we need to get above 58.38. And that comes from these lows as well, doesn't it? If we look left. So we've got these previous lows, this 61.8 level. So this becomes really important resistance when we rally on a retest. We've got to get above 58.38 to be going up again. Ta-da! Now, on the daily, here we are turning up. So remember, if you buy this, that's what you really need to see. You really need to see new highs and then support from that level, and then we're fine. If we just rally back up here and another swing lower, you know, not going to be so cool. So 58.38 is the level to watch in ICX Bitcoin. If we do the same thing for ICX dollar, we're going to check, did we make a bearish pattern? ICX tether and key. Okay. Let me get rid of some stuff here. And we'll look at it now. Go to the weekly. If we look at this on the weekly, it's not, it is still a little bit, you know, of the bearish pattern. It went beyond the equal measured move to the 1272, but we couldn't, if we put our big 236 fib on, we couldn't get above it. And that also comes from these lows here. So this is going to be a resistance that we need to break above if we're going to buy more. Okay, that's where we want to be above 0.6454 in ICX tether. And if we drop below 0.4259, we will see one of those big bearish 786 fib retraces. So we don't want to be holding on if that happens. If I draw that from the high to low, that 786 fib level is lower from here. It's all the way down here at move it to the right so I can read it. 2550, 0.255. So if we lose 0.4259, then we're going to drop quite a lot further. So be a little bit careful. That's the weekly 20 moving average. If we lose it, we're going to drop down to the weekly 50 basically. So far, bouncing from this really good support. So far, it looks like a little bit of an ABC correction, and back above the daily moving averages is pretty good. Sometimes if it's just a correction, the 50% level will be tricky. If I mark where that is, we're not even close to it. It's all the way up there. So yeah, no, let's see. Let's go up and retest this resistance then and see. If you were looking to buy this tonight, it's trending quite nicely here on the hourly, isn't it? Needs a little bit, needs to see some red candles before you can buy it. But ICX tether, yeah, let's go and see what happens when we get up to 6,000, 6,400 and see what happens there. And then in key US dollar tether, let's see. Key. Got this on an hourly chart. Ta-da! Now, in terms of our sort of daily moving averages, we're in a really good place. But look, they're dead flat. There's 200 moving averages flat. These 50 and this 20 here are flat. So we need to break out of this range that we're stuck in between these moving averages. And until we do, we're not really going to go anywhere. So we need to close above the 20 moving average. I know it's boring, I keep saying the same things, but unless we do, you know, this is called the chop zone, and you get chopped to death thinking you know which way in between. And I really don't know which way this will go from here. We could lose it or not. Let's go back to the daily. If you put a gun to my head, I'm going to say higher, probably. You know, this is a great level. Let's look. So look, if we've drawn this at the closing highs, this high here, this is really like a really good pivot level for this coin. You know, it's not the only one, obviously. There's this one here, highs, 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 highs. So we can say if we drop down here, that is probably down to this next level is where we're going at 1822. But at the moment, really good support level, but we're only going to know we're going up if we get back above that daily 20, and that's at 3172. So potentially nearly there, nearly. If we just get above these 4-hour moving averages, that would just make me feel much, much better. And again, if you buy this, say we're going on the way up, we break up, where are your trouble areas going to be, or where should you watch out for? If it's just going to be a correction, then you'll watch out that this doesn't just make an equal measured move, stop somewhere around 4,200. That wouldn't be so good. And then if it turns lower again, it would mean that this rally is not a new upswing, just a correction. Okay. Key though, really good level to bounce from. Okay, CRV and H. I'm going to do H bar, then CRV. So okay. Annoying. Let's change. I don't like this color. Put regular candles on. This is a weekly chart of a header hash graph, H bar. It really does look like this 61.8 level is gone now, doesn't it? So if we make a new low here, I think that we should be looking for this 786 fib retrace. Now, maybe I should be doing the fibs this way, because this is a pretty strong previous low like this. Maybe I should say this level. God, that makes it quite a long way to fall though. Anyway. So if we lose 336, 275 next, does look like we're still... This is really heavy, because normally you'd look for a drop, then an ABC rally, and then another drop. And this ABC rally doesn't seem to have been able to get anywhere. It's gone as a triangle or a declining wedge, you know. Which means we may not have had our B leg, but... So, what would make me want to buy it then? So what would I be looking for? First off, I think if we get a really nice bullish reaction, little double bottom, something like this, down at this 275 level, that would be a good sign. Ignore my, this bottom channel, I think is where our support is. But I think more importantly that this 61.8 level that we've broken above, which lines up with the daily 50, if we got above that again, then I would say I'm wrong, it's not going any lower and we're going up. So that's at 401, and in between, hanging around these lows, I think it's no man's land, and I would leave it alone. So I'd be bullish above 401, and I would attempt to look for a bottom at 275 if it continues lower. Just be a little bit careful. A sharp break of this wouldn't be so good. This might hold, this might be A, and we're still going to see B to come, and then you can get out at a good price. Okay, that's H bar. Not quite inspiring yet against Bitcoin. Doesn't mean it's going to look terrible against Tether, but in fact it doesn't look terrible against Tether, does it? In fact, this is good, just like that chart. This is potential support here. So from this high to low, look, ABC, we reversed at the 61.8 level, lost the 50% in the middle, went beyond the 38.2, so the next support is down here at this 236 level, 3304. We didn't quite tag it last time, so let's see if we can do it this time. And you'll see what I mean. We didn't quite reach it. So 3304 is where I'm looking for support in H bar US dollar tether. Now, I'm wrong and we won't go back down there. I think if we get above, put quickly, this 200-day moving average and 4010. If we can get above 4010, forget retesting the lows. I think we are on our way higher. So 4010 also could be quite strong resistance in H bar when you get there. If we reverse there, take some profit and wait for the retest. Okay, there we go. It's not the greatest, is it, this week? It's too much indecision. I mean, I know Bitcoin turns first. And, you know, Bitcoin turned at the highs before stock indexes did. So maybe this is, you know, the sign that we're all going to go up again. That would be really good if it is. I'm just, yeah, going to be a little bit careful first. Okay, I'll try and post more updates on Twitter this week. Thank you very much for coming. And I wish you all a really good week. Be careful in those farm coins. Okay, be careful.